Hello, I am Captain Crazy.
And I'm Princess.
And this is our RWBY review for Volume 4, Chapter 1. Finally!
Yay!
Only been waiting for a little while. It's finally come out. It is out already for those who have the membership.
To Rooster Teeth.
Yes, to Rooster Teeth. You can get a free membership, which allows you to get it one day after it releases. And then you need to pay $5 a month or $3.33 a month to be able to get it right at first day release.
Otherwise, you have to wait like a week later for everybody else when it comes available.
Exactly. But for those who have watched it, this will be a spoiler-heavy review, and for those who have not,
this
even
is
more.
A spoiler-heavy review.
Spoilers. Big bold letters right here.
If you're looking for a spoiled-free review, this ain't it.
No, we will be going heavily into what happens in the chapters because it greatly affects our opinion of that said chapter, and without giving a decent overlay, especially in a series like this where so much and so little happens in every single volume. If you were to just go by the ambiance of the episode, and
there was fighting.
There'd be a lot of reviews exactly like that. So we will be going into spoilers.
You have been warned. And
we will not be warning again until next episode. If we remember. The general thoughts of this before we begin, it's definitely got a darker tone to it. If you've been following the series, not just our reviews, then you know that the last episode of Volume 3 was...
holy shit.
Exactly. It went dark real fast. So, in this beginning...
it starts off dark.
It starts off extremely dark to the point where you literally have Grims that appear to be...
created?
Or, yeah, like being spawned from pools of blood.
Either that or it could be a day spa.
It could be a day spa.
We don't know.
But nonetheless, very much a darker undertone to not only the beginning, but even the parts with RWBY in it are just, they don't have that same pep. She does show a little bit of humor, but not nearly to the extent that she normally does.
She doesn't have the same joy that she had in like the previous episodes when she fighting now. When she's fighting now, she's not smiling as much. She's more focused on the battle because she knows that she can lose.
Yeah, there's not that jubilation of fighting. It's just I need to do this.
Also, Jean is more the humorous one in the episode as opposed to RWBY having more of that humor in previous volumes.
Yes.
Yes.
So to go through the episode a little bit, so we've already mentioned the opening scene with the Grim spawning, or what appears to be spawning from, again, what appears to be pools of blood. It has that reddish tone. Everything's like saturated in red.
Yes.
So we assume, as the viewer, that they're bats of blood. Just on the ground in like a barren wasteland. Kind of like Lord of the Rings, them spawning the orcs out of those giant sacks. Very similar, other than it's just a giant pool and they just kind of climb out of it. It very quickly moves, though, to the council of the, we're going to
dub the Evil League of Evil.
For anybody that gets that reference, good on you. So we see that there are... 6 or 4 people sitting around a table with Mercury and...
Emerald.
Yes, Mercury and Emerald, who are Cinder's lackeys or...
Posse.
Yeah, they're called a posse. We'll go with posse. So Cinder's posse, and then Cinder, and then 3 others are sitting at a large table. Cinder is being belittled by one of the other members at the table for failing and losing to a little girl.
Also, you can see that Cinder's hair is like chopped off very short now, because part of it, I guess, was blown off in the last chapter. She also has a big patch over her left eye. I just point to the right eye. So she has a patch over her left eye. Also, her left arm is completely covered and she doesn't really use it at all, so we're not sure if something has happened to her left arm or not. It could just be badly burnt or scarred, we don't know, but she doesn't use it. Like, she slams her other arm on the table at one point, but we just personally find it odd that she hasn't used the other arm at all.
Yeah, and it's odd that that's the only one that's covered, and it looks like she took a lot of damage on her left side by the look of her eye, just alone. If that trailed down at all and continued down onto her arm, like, I don't know if it was because one of the other characters actually goes, "I would hunt down that girl, and she took your eye." So could that be did RWBY take an arm for an arm? Right? It wasn't Cinder that took that arm, but did RWBY take the use of her arm because she felt bad for Yang? And again, spoilers for anybody that hasn't watched the rest of the series.
Yay!
So after the belittlement, it kind of gets interrupted by Salem entering the room.
So Salem comes into the room and says, "Why are you calling Cinder a failure? She has killed Professor Ozpin, which is most important to her, and she's now the Fall Maiden, so kind of and also destroyed Beacon Academy. So no means is she a failure." Another character that we get introduced to is Hazel, who says that we have actually dealt with her kind before, referring to Ruby and the gray eyes.
Silver eyes.
Silver eyes.
Yes,
Silver
eyes. So, in my opinion, I do not think that she is the Winter Maiden. No, that's very true
because we thought before at one point that she was the Winter Maiden. But if they have dealt with her kind before, that implies that there is more of them out there than just the one person, like there would be for like the Winter Maiden. Which
makes her power that we saw at the end of the last volume even more amazing, because it wasn't linked to the powers of the Maiden, if our theory is correct.
We're just speculating at this point. We have no idea.
I think we have grounds for a theory video. So yes, what else? We also get introduced to Tyrion, who sits like L.
From Death Note.
Again, hopefully you got that reference. And
is a laughing lunatic.
Yeah, he's absolutely a psychopath insanity of death.
Just breaks out in evil laughter at one point, and little over the top laughter.
Oh yeah. I think he's my new favorite character.
After just the laughing?
Oh, he's just insane and crazy, and we need to see him fight.
We do need to see them all fight. It would be very interesting.
We do.
The other person that's sitting on the council is Dr. Watts. Watts? We don't know yet. I don't know.
It sounds like Watts. We then, after Salem enters, she then starts to give out the orders of what people need to be doing next to try to forward their plan.
Cinder gets to remain with Salem. Dr. Watts gets to go to Minstrel.
Hazel gets to go to the White Fang, and then Tyrion originally got sent off to find the Spring Maiden, but after Cinder, who can't talk very loudly, also can only speak in whispers, we forgot to mention that one earlier, gets Emerald's attention and gets her to speak up that, "What about the girl?" Referring to, obviously, RWBY. And that changed Salem's mind a little bit, and she then sends Tyrion off to retrieve RWBY and bring her back to her. So Tyrion was very happy off the bat. "Oh, I get to kill and maim and torture.
Oh wait, you want her?
I gotta bring her
I
back.
gotta bring her back.
And normally when you say that, I want it in one. You want them in one piece.
One piece. Maybe a missing eye though.
Ooh.
Also, an interesting fact to point out is that there are 6 chairs at the table, plus the obviously head table or head chair, and there's only 4 people sitting. So there's 2 empty chairs there that we don't know if they will be filled or not.
Yeah, it's hard to tell if they're put there to separate the generals essentially. Let's tactically put these chairs in, and we know that they're not going to sit together, and they're not going to sit together and separated, and it causes less tension, I guess, than if they were tight elbow to elbow. Yeah, it wouldn't be as buddy like that. It would be more of fist fights and screaming and cat fights and torture and yeah.
Evil laughter.
Maniacal evil laughter.
Maniacal evil.
So yes, it's either that option. Number 2, the seats are vacant because they're waiting to be filled. Or 3, those 2 members of the council are off somewhere else, and we are yet to get identified to them, or have them identified to us. Sorry, so that we some sort of air of mystery. So we don't know everything about this council. We just know basically their plan is to take over, and that they're going to use Cinder to do it. She is the key, and they're going and kind of being emissaries at the moment, trying to shake up things.
So after the evil meeting, we go to a farm, and we see a young boy with orange and green eyes, and you just see him go about his day-to-day tasks, and doesn't really talk at all, and doesn't really do much. But there is such a long scene with him. In comparison, they don't say who this person is at all. They just show him going about his day-to-day tasks.
Yeah, and he wakes up with a start, almost like he was dreaming about this council meeting. That's kind of the impression that they try to give. Kind of like a Harry Potter, he had one of those snake vision type dreams, and he woke up with a start from it. But it's hard to tell if he had a nightmare or something, and it was just a coincidence that he woke up with a start right after that scene, or oh crap, I'm late because I'm a farmer and it's
chores.
There's light outside and I'm not awake. It was hard to tell because he doesn't seem to have a whole lot of energy. He just kind of methodically and with a sigh goes through his work, and it was a long scene.
It's a long scene where nothing much happened and nothing about him is explained.
Yeah.
And nothing throughout the entire episode explains him. So hopefully in the next chapter, it gets explained.
And if it doesn't get explained, they might have just thrown in this scene to throw us off. It could just be because it almost...
Because everybody wants to analyze every little single detail.
Exactly. And it almost seemed like there was that rumble in the distance, and that could just be he was somebody nearby the upcoming fight that we're about to get to with RWBY, and that was just the introduction to that, so that it wasn't just, oh, they're in a whole fight.
However, in our personal opinion, it just seemed too long for an introduction to the fight.
Yeah.
Like, it is very possible that it's linked to it, and it kind of links into it, but it just seems long.
And then we get to the fight. So it starts with us seeing
Nora and Ren, and they're debating what their team name actually should be.
Yeah, because now RWBY has joined Team Juniper because
Pyrrha is not there anymore.
Yep.
Spoilers if you haven't watched the other ones. We're assuming you have, though, if you're watching Volume 4 reviews. But Pyrrha.
Could be because we don't have volume 2 and 3 reviews up yet.
But Pyrrha.
I know!
You don't even like her.
No, I hate Pyrrha. Wait, where were we? Oh yes!
The fight!
Fight scene! And it's a fairly long fight scene. So, after a bit of bantering on what they're going to be called, we then see RWBY rush out of the forest, shooting at a giant stone animated golem looking thing. Obviously a creature of Grimm because it still has that facial mask type, red, black, white type of deal that is very distinguishable between the creatures of Grimm.
But it's very different than any of the other creatures that we have seen so far for the creatures of Grimm. So it's really a hopeful look that we're going to see a lot more new character or new villains and new unique designs for that.
Yep. So it's essentially this giant hulking rock or conjuncture of rocks. And it swings with massive amounts of force, does considerable damage with every hit. They aren't able to destroy it. So yes, they can't seem to actually destroy this golem because the rock is just too hard for it to break. Ren's weapon does almost nothing. Pistols, guns in this seem to do almost nothing.
Also, the swords on his pistols can't penetrate the rock at all and just do nothing.
Yeah. They're more meant for like close hand-to-hand personal combat, slicing through flesh, not rock.
Yep.
Just doesn't have the pure force behind him or the leverage, and he's more of a speedy, speedster, ninja type character versus a superpower.
But speedster, you have, I would say that RWBY's more of a speedster. You get to see more of her semblance too, and how she has much more control over her semblance and her fast speed. And it's just a cool effect.
Yep. So eventually, Nora turns her thing into a hammer and manages to break one of the arms off. But it doesn't last long because this spectral-looking hand comes out of the rest of the Archon and shoves it into a tree. And now he's got a tree arm. So breaking off the limbs doesn't seem to be doing anything. And for whatever reason at the beginning of the episode we didn't find out until later in it, Jan has no weapons. He has no shield, no weapon.
He's the strategist.
Yeah. He was told apparently that you won't need weapons, you're the strategist for this.
Pew, smack.
And yeah, he gets smacked around everywhere.
Not even in the battle, and he gets beat up.
Yeah, he keeps getting pummeled with rocks and everything. Yeah.
You also get to see then RWBY's and Nora's weapon upgrades a little bit. RWBY now has different cases?
Bullets.
Bullet cases?
Sort of like elemental bullets. So she starts off with electricity. It does nothing to the rock. Surprise, surprise there. She also then switches to fire bullets, which
she shoots at the tree arm.
And sets the tree arm on fire, going, hey, we'll burn that. Oh, crap, now we just gave him a burning, flipping log to fling at us. Bad idea! Bad idea!
You also see Nora's upgrade, which her weapon now has electricity, or more of a thunderbolt to it, and is just more powerful.
So eventually, Jan actually comes up with a plan and goes, wait, it keeps protecting its face. Its limbs and body is too hard to break, but we can smash the limbs off long enough
to smash the face.
And they just ignore this anyway because they just kind of distract her for a little bit while Nora powers up her hammer, and then RWBY comes in semblance, speed, twirly, typhoon thing, and they kind of just blast through the tree, and Nora smashes it in the face, and it kind of just explodes. So that whole, let's break off all the limbs, and then we can smack...
They did break off the limbs, and then they shot it in the head, though.
They didn't break off the limbs, they smashed through a limb and just hit it in the head.
sort of followed the plan.
Which his original version of the plan is, let's just hit it harder.
So they followed that.
They followed the original. They
followed the let's hit it harder. So
and then just ignored the rest of what he said, so.
They still got rid of it, so.
Yep.
Still effective.
So after they smash the rock golem, Archon, whatever you want to call it, a spectral kind of being floats out of it and tries to fly away, in which Ruby takes out her giant sniper rifle and goes, "You're dead." Pow! She doesn't say you're dead, but...
Which just makes you think, could she have done that in the first place with it not being in the rocks? Or does it have to show its true form? Like, couldn't it have been a lot easier if she just shot it in the head to begin with?
Yeah, because if she surprised it and just sniper rifled, because she's a decent shot, considering that thing was flying away at a decent rate and not in a straight line, and she was able to right through the middle of the face, why couldn't, while it was a giant rock thing, just, okay, and you're done.
However, then you would miss the epic fight scene.
That is why. Because anime reasons. So that's basically the end of that fight. They then go back to the town, which we then learn that the town was the one that commissioned that they come there
and hunt down the Grimm.
Yep, because they don't want to leave the area they're in. They know they'd be safer in a metropolitan type area, but all of their people would survive the trip because it is a very long trip through Grimm territory with women, children, all that fun, happy jazz. And just that many people would attract a large amount of Grimms because, well, you have a herd of people moving through an inhabited forest. And then you also learn that they just want to live their lives their own way, which is very monkish-like. They're all dressed up in how do you even explain it? Older style hermit, elegantly hermit.
Elegant hermits.
New fashion style, elegantly hermit. So yeah, they don't want to leave because they like their lifestyle and they don't want to be in the metropolitan area, even if they could get there safely. And then they also comment on the reward. The town comments that they wish they could give them more of a reward, and Ruby and the others from Team Juniper, we're going to have to figure out... We'll call them Junior.
I don't like Junior.
I don't like Junior either, but...
I like the other name.
What was the other one?
Ranger.
Okay, we'll call them Ranger. Team Ranger. So Team Ranger had already... or they said that the original compensation offered was more than adequate.
Yes. So then we find out that the compensation then is actually new armor and an upgrade? No. Cleaning, fixing of...
It's upgraded.
Upgraded of Jean's weapon.
And shield.
And shield.
Sword
and shield.
And it is actually revealed that they used the metal from Pyrrha's weapons to enhance Jan's weapons and armor. It's got gold riddled throughout it, so it's very clearly the metal from Pyrrha's weapons and armor. Because the metalsmith even goes, or the blacksmith, I guess it would be, even comments, "This was fine metal. Where did you get it?" And they all just kind of give that very somber look.
From a friend.
And from a friend. So...
You also see a change in Jean's outfit. He now has kind of a red sash, similar to the way that Pyrrha wore it, just not as long.
Yeah,
so
it's
in remembrance of Pyrrha.
It's an homage.
Yes.
The one RWBY humorous point, when Jan goes to change his armor, we find out that he wears a hoodie with a cute little teddy bear on the front of it.
Bunny, do you not pay attention? You think cats are or monkeys are cats and bears are bunnies? And I'm getting confused.
I can't remember names.
It's a bunny. He's got a cute little bunny.
And this cracks Ruby up to the point where she's laughing so hard
She falls over.
Oh yeah, right on the back, legs up in the air, kicking and flailing because she can't stop laughing. It's quite amazing.
It's the first time you actually see her in this chapter with a genuine smile.
Yeah. That's all that really happens with Team Ranger. Mm-hmm. And then we cut over to Weiss at home. So she's just kind of sitting by the window.
In a fancy little dress, not her combat skirt.
And then the butler comes up and goes, "Your father would like to speak to you."
And that's all you see of her.
And she goes, "Okay." Or, "Very well," or something to that effect. Basically, yeah, I'll get to it. Leave me alone. Yeah. So, in overview of this episode, it was fucking awesome!
I want more!
Yeah.
I don't want to wait a week! Final thoughts on the episode.
Great episode, very much of a darker feel to it. Again, you have that brilliance of lots of action with lots of character development mixed into it. And we get to see a lot more of the, we'll say the bad guys' point of view on this one. So you start to get where this series is heading and what they're going to be trying to take on. That is whatever team was left of Team RWBY and Team Juniper. And cutscene. And like the ending scene, it shows Yang trying to learn how to fight again with her one arm. And
it's the credits.
That's it.
The opening, actually. It's going to be the opening.
That's going to be the opening?
That's going to be the opening.
Okay. Well, it shows a little bit of Yang trying to learn how to fight and then sees herself with two arms, and that might be a mental block for her, and we'll see if she can get past that.
You also see Blake on a ship with Sun and some other Faunus going off to some unknown location.
We're assuming to go see the White Fang and try to infiltrate it, kind of a little bit. Mm-hmm. Which is going to be hard for Blake, though, considering how close she was to the leader. And then, obviously, we've already seen Weiss at home. And then it also, in that scene, it shows a little bit of her training in the opening, or the end credits, which apparently is going to be opening.
It's the end credits now, but typically they have that then as the opening credits.
Gotcha.
Yes. If they follow the same pattern.
But yeah, that's my thoughts on the episode. How about yours?
Well, I like the variety that we're going to be getting with the Grimm. Like, this time we see a specter as opposed to, like, an actual animal-based one. So, gets the hopes up for, you know, some really unique creatures for that. The animation style has gone kind of leaps and bounds since Volume 1. So they've really upped their game with that. There's no black silhouette characters. Just much crisper and high quality for that. And again, yeah, more dark than any of the previous ones. Well, it's a very dark start. Hopefully it gets some more humor in there. I'd like to see more humor, though. Go back to, like, the first ones. I really enjoyed the humor in the beginning volumes, so hopefully we'll get a bit more of that in later. And also, I was very upset that you don't get to see more of Yang and Blake and, you know, all four of them. But hopefully in the coming chapters we will. Yeah.
This one was RWBY, and then it appears like they're setting up the next one to be a Weiss volume, or chapter, sorry. And we'll get a little bit into Weiss, and then we'll probably get, right at the very end, a link into somebody else, and then we'll get either Yang or Blake. I'm assuming it's probably going to be Blake first, or it might be Yang first, and then Blake, because Blake is going into something a little more dangerous, or that'll continue the storyline. So it might be a Weiss chapter, then a Yang chapter, and then a Blake chapter to continue the story and move it forward.
Oh, and one thing we forgot to mention is that Team Ranger is actually heading to Minstrel. They say Nora and Ren and Jan are there to help Ruby with her mission, but they don't really go into any clarification as to what that is specifically at this point in time.
Mm-hmm. I'm kind of surprised that they let Ruby with all that power just go wandering. Like, any other series, they don't let the main character that is this highly sought after destructive capabilities just wander without somebody there to protect them.
However, is she unwatched though? Because at the end of the volume 3, the last chapter, you see Crow observing them walking away, and then you see him kind of fly after them.
That's true.
So I do not think that they are I think they are still under surveillance at this point in time.
And if anything were to happen, Crow would be the first to hop in.
Yes.
Very true.
So there.
So that's all for this week. It's been our RWBY review for Volume 4, Chapter 1. I am Captain Crazy.
And I'm Princess.
And we will see you next week.
Thank you for watching.
Bye-bye.